Good morning, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about something that may seem simple, but is actually quite powerful. How to say no politely in English. Saying no can be difficult, especially when we don't want to hurt someone's feelings or cause tension. But learning to say no respectfully is an important part of good communication, and it helps protect our time, energy, and values. Using polite phrases to say no clearly and respectfully is an important communication skill, especially in English-speaking environments where indirect and courteous language is often valued. Saying no can feel uncomfortable, especially if we are worried about hurting someone's feelings, disappointing them, or being seen as rude. However, the way we say no can make a big difference. Using polite expressions allows us to protect our time and boundaries while still maintaining positive relationships and showing respect to others. There are many polite ways to say no in English. The goal is to be clear that you are declining while using words and tones that are gentle and respectful. For example, instead of saying just no, which might sound too direct or harsh in some situations, you could say, "I'm really sorry, but I can't," or "Thank you for asking, but I won't be able to." These phrases express the same message, but in a softer, more socially acceptable way. Tone of voice is also important when saying no politely. If you speak with warmth and kindness, your message is more likely to be received in a positive way. A smile, eye contact, and a calm tone can make your words feel less like rejection and more like a respectful decision. Even if you are declining a request, you are still showing that you care about the person and the situation. There are polite phrases that work well in different situations. For example, if someone invites you to an event but you're not able to go, you can say, "That sounds lovely, but I'm afraid I have other plans." If a co-worker asks for help but you are already busy, you might say, "I'd love to help, but I'm currently tied up with another task." These phrases combine clear refusal with a respectful tone, making your message both honest and kind. In more formal situations, such as at work or in professional settings, it is helpful to use language that is both polite and diplomatic. Gekken might say, "Unfortunately, I won't be able to participate this time," or "I appreciate the offer, but I must decline." These expressions help you maintain a professional image while still setting limits. You can also offer an alternative when appropriate, like saying, "I can't help today, but I'd be happy to assist later this week," which shows flexibility without sacrificing your boundaries. Another useful strategy is to thank the person before saying no. This shows appreciation and helps to soften the refusal. For instance, "Thanks so much for thinking of me, but I'll have to pass," is a polite and friendly way to decline an offer or invitation. Showing gratitude before delivering a no makes the conversation feel more positive. Being honest while staying polite is key. You don't have to create long or complicated explanations. A simple and clear reason is enough. In fact, over-explaining can sometimes make things awkward or seem like you are making excuses. Short responses like, "I'm not available," or "That won't work for me," are effective and polite. The key is to stay calm, respectful, and confident in your response. Practicing these polite phrases can help make them feel more natural. Over time, you'll become more comfortable, setting boundaries in a kind way. Whether you're at work, school, or with friends, knowing how to say no politely will help you communicate clearly, protect your time, and build respectful relationships. You don't need to over-explain. Be kind, firm, and direct. This idea is very important when learning to say no politely in English. Many people feel pressure to give a long explanation or a detailed reason when they want to decline something. They might worry that a short answer seems rude or that the other person will be upset. However, in English communication, especially in more professional or respectful environments, it is both acceptable and effective to give a short, polite answer without going into too much detail. The key is to balance kindness with clarity. When you say no to someone, especially in a polite way, you are already showing respect. You are taking the time to give a thoughtful response rather than ignoring the request. This alone is a sign of good communication. Adding too many reasons or long explanations can sometimes sound like you are unsure, or worse, like you are making excuses. A short and honest response can actually make you sound more confident and respectful. Being kind means using a polite tone and choosing soft, respectful words. Phrases like, "I'm sorry, but I can't," or "I really appreciate it, but I have to say no," are excellent examples. These responses show that you value the other person's request, even though you are not accepting it. You are not rejecting the person. You are simply turning down the offer or request. This is an important difference, and it helps you protect your relationships. Being firm means standing by your decision. If you have decided to say no, it's best to do so in a clear way. Some people might try to convince you to change your mind, especially if your no sounds uncertain. For example, if you say, "I don't think I can," or "maybe not," it may sound like you could still say yes. This can lead to more pressure or confusion. A firm "I can't" or "I won't be able to" leaves no room for misunderstanding. It tells the listener that your decision is made. Being direct means expressing your answer clearly, without trying to avoid the topic or delay your response. If you already know that you cannot do something, it's better to say so early rather than waiting. Saying no right away with kindness is usually better than giving false hope. A direct response also respects the other person's time and lets them make other plans if needed. Another helpful approach is to stay calm and neutral. If the request makes you feel guilty or nervous, take a deep breath and focus on your message. You are allowed to have your own priorities, needs, and limits. Saying no does not mean you are being selfish. In fact, people often respect those who are honest and clear about what they can and cannot do. It shows maturity and self-awareness. Also, remember that you don't owe people a long explanation. A short sentence like, "I already have other plans," or "I'm focusing on other tasks right now," is enough. You are not required to explain every detail. When you keep your answer simple, you are protecting your own privacy and time while still being respectful. Politeness in English often relies on the use of softeners, words that make a sentence sound more gentle. Words like sorry, afraid, appreciate, and unfortunately help to soften the message. For example, "I'm afraid I won't be able to join" sounds more polite than just "I won't join." These softeners can make your no sound more kind, even when you're being firm and direct. By being kind, firm, and direct, you are able to say no in a way that feels respectful and confident. In conclusion, learning to say no politely is not just about language. It's about self-respect, clarity, and confidence. You don't need to explain your every decision or apologize for protecting your time and energy. A kind, firm, and direct no is a powerful tool that allows you to honor your boundaries while still treating others with respect. Remember, every time you say no with confidence, you are saying yes to what truly matters in your life.